I think it was Thursday night, chanting one of the songs on your new CD. I say that just to warn you all, it's addictive. And I didn't go back to sleep either. I did, however, have a good time. So what has come to me to share with you today is a conversation about infinite possibilities. Something I say all the time. I'm sure many of you use that phrase. It's clever. It's catchy. Do we actually know what it means? Not fully. Not fully. So I thought I'd explore that with you today, just to look at what some of the nuances of infinite possibilities can bring into your life. It has certainly kept me busy thinking for a while. So I want to start with a scenario to kind of set a pace for this. Everybody's been driving down a road. Imagine that you don't know the area. You're just driving down a road, and all of a sudden it comes to a place that looks like this. Turn left, turn right. Or infinite possibilities, right? Huh, what could that look like? Well, you could turn around and go back where you came from. You could. That's a possibility. You could stay there. You could set up a homestead. You know, maybe over there. You know, or maybe that one looks a little clearer. Maybe on that side, but either side would work. You could start digging a hole into the ground and go down. You could have a jetpack and you could go up. You could have a helicopter come and pick you up there. Now, I know these sound nonsensical, but they point out very clearly that possibilities are not normally in the realm of our regular thinking. Because most people coming to the end of this road would go, should I turn left or should I turn right? And they leave everything else out. Look beyond the road. It's infinite. Anything out there could be something you might want to do or go to. So what do you choose? Most of us hone it down to, am I going to turn left or am I going to turn right? And that's the way our minds work. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because when we have infinite possibilities, it can overwhelm us. For example, you ever walk into a candy store? That's ridiculous. And it's not even infinite. There's a finite number of pieces of candy in there, but you don't get them all. Even if you own the store, you own it to get them to other people. So it's not reasonable to face in your life infinite possibilities on what you could have. It's overwhelming. And again, our mind likes the idea of working it down to a couple of simple choices. That's what we like to do. Now, that's okay. But when we forget that all those other choices are there, we often feel burdened by having to choose between two less than ideal ideas or outcomes. And we start struggling with it. I don't know what I should do. Or we fall into that trap of saying, this was the only choice I had. And that's never true. It's never true. There's always other choices. And I'm quick to go to them. You know, somebody says to me, well, I had to do this. I said, no, you didn't. What else could I do? You could have quit. You could have walked away. You could have, and I go off on my list. Somewhere in there I say you could have died. But it's a choice. You don't think that's a choice? It is. It's a choice we all make at some point, but not yet, folks. There's still lots of other infinite possibilities to look at. But the idea of this is that we don't think about all those choices. It helps us, it serves us to know that there are other choices. Oftentimes, there are choices that we haven't even imagined yet. That's why when we do our spiritual mind treatment in this teaching, we never deal with how. We never treat for how something will happen, because that creates this tiny little corridor of possibility. Little bitty, maybe one or two things that could happen. What about all the other things you haven't thought of? You're going to cancel those out right now? You're going to tell the divine infinite of life that you won't accept it if it comes by those means? Well, that's kind of what you're saying if you're not open to the possibility. The infinite possibility of the way things could work out. You can't know them all. It's impossible to know them all. So we move into this idea of the infinite, knowing that we cannot consciously be aware of all of the possibilities. Some we can, and it's good to remember there are many, many, many that we can think about, and way more that we can't think about because we haven't experienced enough yet of life to know how to do that. And I've been talking to us old timers. There's still stuff to experience, stuff you haven't done before. And the way I imagine this works is, as we're moving through life, if we look back at where we've come from, it's really easy to see that pathway. Even, it doesn't matter how circuitous it may be, it's easy to see that it took some twists and turns to get to here. That's okay, that was the path. But before us, the infinite possibilities remain. They are truly infinite. And if we try to live our future like we've lived our past, we're going to limit that. So we have to be open to what it could be. Now, at some point in time, you make a choice. You make a conscious choice, this is the direction to go. And when you do, that was the only choice you could have made. And it fits perfectly on that path that you've been on all along. But as you're looking at those choices or possibilities of choices, consider there are many you haven't thought of. And when you start fretting that you have to do this or that with the IRS or the insurance company or the attorney or the neighbor or the boss or the partner, when you start limiting your thoughts to that, you will be limiting those possibilities, and you will be enemy number one to the fullness and richness of the life that you seek. This is your chance to change your thinking and get a different result. Simply changing your idea about the possibilities opens up your life to things that you never thought of before. It changes everything. So that's what this idea of infinite possibilities begins with. But I did my research this week. Even being on vacation, I found some really cool stuff that I want to run by you. Here's some ideas on what infinite possibilities really means. It means you could have that house you want. It means you could have the job. It means you could be happy. It means that you could lose that weight, or you could heal, or you could feel great. It means that you could be in a deep, loving, and respectful relationship. It means you could enjoy your life. Go figure. It means your children can be healthy and happy. It means you can be at peace. It means that you can be a best-selling author, get a promotion, graduate or get an advanced degree, become a movie producer, a television personality, a rock star, become a farmer, an electrician, a nurse, a fireman, a teacher, or whatever. It means that you can achieve your dreams, that you can be successful. It means that you can become enlightened. It means you can change. Infinite possibility also means the opposite of these things. It does. It means you can get stuck. You can be unhappy. You can be destitute. You can be in turmoil. You can experience heartbreak. You can fail. Those are possibilities. And it's important to know those. When we choose from these possibilities, and we do, these difficult ones, the point isn't to recover back to the place you started from. It's to find God even in those challenging moments of your life and end up in a place, even through that challenge, that is better than the place that you started from. Everybody thinks, well, I made a wrong choice. No, you didn't. You made a divine choice. And it brought you an understanding you could not have gotten through any other choice you made. No one here has ever made a wrong choice. What about those first 3 marriages? No, you needed every one of those to get clear about who you are. Every one. Everything you think you did wrong, you did not. It is the only thing you could have done. You chose that path from infinite possibilities. Infinite choices. That's what you picked. How could that be wrong? So where you end up is better than you were before you started. Infinite possibility also means every variation between the extremes, which is where most of us live. We are sometimes happy and sometimes at peace. We have moments of clarity when love and success are real for us. We live in a world of infinite possibility, and that means that as stuck as we might think, we're really not that far off. You can learn to make a different choice for your life, and your life will change. Infinite possibilities. I found a definition in a weird place. Everybody heard of the Urban Dictionary? Yeah, there's some cool stuff there, isn't there? So I found infinite possibility situation. And I will forewarn you, it's a paragraph and a half. And I'm going to read it to you. The first part you're going to end up going to blah, 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 blah. But stick around for the end. That's where it gets really cool. Here we go. Infinite possibility situation, IPS for short, is a theory regarding a series of possibilities pertaining to evolution of the brain that occurs when certain requirements are met. But these requirements are completely random and vary from how you ate your cereal this morning to how you change the way you tie your shoes or you walk your dog on a certain time of day. When the requirements are met, then you basically have activated a cheat code that allows you to temporarily have an omnipotent point of view or something along the lines of becoming God. You like that ending? Something along the lines of becoming God. So having an awareness and living in a world of infinite possibilities, apparently you become God according to the Urban Dictionary. I'm going with it. I like this because I like to live in infinite possibilities. I like to make choices too. And I'm not taking anything away from my choices. At the same time, I can do anything. Anything. And that really works for me. Okay, I got one more science thing for you. And let's see how this works. Let me give you a science picture. There it is. These are 4 theories of a multiverse, which is many universes. Because uni means one. These are multiverses, okay? I've got 4 examples. Infinite universes. If a time-space continuum goes forever, then it must start repeating at some point because scientists presume that there are infinite number of ways particles can be arranged in space and time. Yay! So if you look far enough, you would encounter another version of you. In fact, infinite versions of you. Some of these twins would be doing exactly the same thing that you're doing now, while others will have worn a different sweater this morning, and still others will have vastly different life choices. Because the observable universe extends as far as light has, it has a chance to get to the 13.7 billion years since the Big Bang. The space-time continuum beyond that distance can be considered to be its own separate universe. 2, bubble universes. A cosmologist at Tufts University suggests that some pockets of space stop inflating while other regions continue to inflate, thus giving rise to many isolated bubble universes. 3, parallel universes. Another idea that arises from string theory and the notion that parallel universes that hover just around each other, in fact, I think on top of each other, happening all the time. And this was the one that really caught my eye. It's called daughter universes. The theory of quantum mechanics, which reigns over the tiny world of subatomic particles, suggests another way multiple universes might arise. Quantum mechanics describes the world in terms of probabilities rather than definite outcomes. And the mathematics of the theory might suggest that all possible outcomes of a situation do occur, each one in their own separate universe. So when I talk about you, I'm speaking plurally of you. Infinitely existing in life. Isn't that amazing? So this is all interesting stuff to me. I love it. But it's got to work. It's got to be something that I can really use. Or I'm stuck. And it's not going to keep showing up naturally. I want it to show up naturally in my life. When I go to the road and I see that maybe it looks like I have 2 choices, I want to remember every single time that there are more choices there. And that if I am open to them, not that I have to know them at that moment, I just have to be open to them, and something amazing will happen. It will. It's happening in my life all the time when I do that. For example, you've heard me talk about this idea that I'm not going to be the president of our international organization much longer. February is probably when there's going to be a vote, and we'll change all the documents, and that won't be my job anymore. I'll have a job. It'll be part-time. I'll be making some money doing it, and that's all fine and good. But I won't be the thing that I was elected to. My ego could get in the way of that and say, this isn't fair, I was elected to this, you got to keep me president until I'm done. And some people even suggested that in leadership, that we should leave it alone. But it didn't happen. That's not the way it's going to be. So, what's going to happen to me? Huh? Infinite possibilities. The question is, what do you want to happen? Because you could do anything. Anything. What do I want? Well, I'm only going to be president for another 2 years come February anyway, so it was going to end, and I've thought about that. What are you going to do when it's over? Certainly I'm coming back here, and I'm going to be a part of this community more and more and more. And I thought that was going to be in 2 years. It's going to be very soon. At the same time, I'm all caught up in this message, this thing called science of mind. I want to keep bringing it to the world. That's kind of my thing. How can I do that? Well, I had a meeting last week with a dear friend of this center. His name is Brian Byro. Brian was, yeah, I got some applause for that. Brian is a world-class motivational speaker. He works with corporations and groups all over the world. He used to be a vice president like 15 years ago with Tony Robbins and was elevated in that organization. He left, he started his own work, and he does fabulous work all over the world. So he and I had a meeting. He said things to me like, you know, you're far further advanced on the path to being a motivational speaker than anyone I've ever worked with. I have a PhD, a doctorate in organizational psychology. Organizations tend to like that. I have all these years of speaking to you and now to other groups around the world. Maybe I got something to share. He thinks that I do. And he's coaching me on how to do that. First thing he said is you got to have a website. So I called Devon and Rodney and said, I got to get a website for myself. They say, we're in. We want to play with you. And it just made it sound so much fun rather than having to learn somebody else and start from scratch. They're going to help me build a website. So that website's going to be for people to go to and see what I do. And so I'm going to develop a certain line of things that I'm going to offer as far as training and keynote speaking and such as that. And I'm going to go out in the world and do that. And that's going to be great fun. You got to break into it though. You know, this is not something you just call people and get in. And one thing that he said that just blew my mind, he said in all the years that he's been doing this, he never called anyone and asked to speak at their organization. They all came to him. And he looked at me and he said, you're going to do that too. Because I'm going to introduce like 25 of the best speaking bureaus in the country. I'm going to introduce them to you. They're going to come to you. Wow. Infinite possibilities. Anything can happen. I've got a book I'm going to finish. It's going to be, it's very close to being finished. It's called Stop Being Sorry. Yeah. But it's not the idea that it's a weakness to say you're sorry. It's the idea that saying you're sorry is trying to sidestep a situation where you don't learn anything. My teacher, Will Rockingbear, once said to me, this is what stuck in me. He said, when somebody says they're sorry, what they're saying is, I'm uncomfortable with the way you're acting around the thing that I did. So I'd like you just to let it go, and I'll probably do it again. So it's been my healing to actually write the book and understand what we can do instead of that. And that's something that I believe the corporate world would like to see. So we're going to play with that out in the world. I've actually done some workshops on that. It's been very well received. That and a few other things. Infinite possibilities. What's out there? What can I choose? There's great things coming in my life because I'm open to this. I want you to be open to this. Here's an important part of this idea of accepting the idea of infinite possibilities. You can see a few possibilities, normally. Maybe 2, 3. You can start getting silly and see all kinds of things. But there's more out there. For you to see the other possibilities that you can't see today, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to think that it's going to be a simple, direct route. Nothing is a simple, direct route. Everything is filled with twists and turns and possibilities. That's what makes life interesting. That's what makes life real. That's what you want to do. So I've got some quotations that I want to share with you, some ideas around this that seemed really poignant. One comes from, how many of you have read Carlos Castaneda's books about Don Juan? So you will know this is epic and really where we start from with this idea. This is Carlos writing in The Power of Silence, quoting from his Nagal teacher. Everything I've put you through, everything I've put you through, Don Juan went on, each of the things I've shown you was only a device to convince you that there's more of us than meets the eye. We don't need anyone to teach us sorcery because there really is nothing to learn. What we need is a teacher to convince us that there is incalculable power at our fingertips. What a strange paradox. Every warrior on the path of knowledge thinks at one time or another that he's learning sorcery. But all he's doing is allowing himself to be convinced of the power hidden in his being and that he can reach it. That's the truth. No one of us has less power than anyone else. None of us. We are all extraordinarily powerful beings beyond our wildest understanding. The way that we get that power out, unleashed into the world, is through our thinking, through our choices, through how we organize our thoughts. That's the key. And if we are open to infinite possibilities, they will reveal themselves and allow us a choice far greater than we can imagine on our own. If we are willing to believe that the structure of life as human beings on planet Earth has us in charge of our own experience, then we can call upon the universe to bring us everything that we desire. Circuitous routes, perhaps. Back and forth, of course. But that's the nature of life. Don't be afraid of it. Fear is the thing that keeps us away from our greatness. We must know that we deserve this and accept it and be creative in it and step out of our comfort zone. That's what will make life work. That's what will get us to the place that truly makes the difference. We are not hopeless sinners. We are the presence of the divine, ready to create beyond anything anyone imagined, if we are willing to open our hearts and to live in that. I got some more quotes for you. These are going to stretch you. The chief cause of unhappiness is trading what we want most for what we want right now. So watch what you want. Watch what you want. Is it the greatest thing you can want? When you become comfortable with uncertainty, infinite possibilities open up in your life. It's okay to be uncertain. It's okay to live in the question. It's okay not to have the answer. In fact, if you're going to grow, you can't have the answer. If you have the answer, that means you've already done it, and you're just doing it again. If you don't have the answer, that means you're moving into something greater. And if you're afraid, all that means is that your ego is telling you you don't have the answer. That's okay. Tell your ego, that's fine. I'll find it. It'll work out. Yeah, it's okay to live in uncertainty. It's okay to do something you've never done before. You can't fail. You can only learn. My friend Les Brown says, the only limits to the possibilities in your life tomorrow are the buts you use today. You get it? Isn't that clever? This is clever. I want you to live in an infinite universe where you can create who you are in elegant, beautiful, wonderful, captivating, meaningful ways. I want you to know that there are possibilities in your life that you could crash and burn, but you would have to choose that to go there. So don't. Choose the thing that serves you and the ones you love the most. Stick your neck out, take a chance, and create something beautiful. And of course, the most important quote of all, to infinity and beyond! I love you all.
Thank you.